What's up, guys? Welcome back. We are on episode 3 of the Guys of Texas. Sorry for the delay. We had no voice after this weekend. It's been quite a wild ride. We tried to go live on Saturday, and YouTube apparently has a 24-hour notice for going live that we had to wait. So therefore, at that point, it was kind of pointless to wait for that. So we just decided to do the podcast after we got back. We finally recovered. Welcome in, boys. How we feeling?
Feeling pretty good.
You can always feel good after that win, but it took me a long time to get some sleep. My goodness.
It took some time to recover, but I was happy to lay on the couch and rewatch the game.
Yeah. I was back at work the next morning, and that was not fun.
No.
What we kind of want to do today is we kind of want to talk about our trip first and kind of go over the experience that we had going to Alabama, and then we'll talk about the game and kind of looking forward. But so basically Thursday afternoon around 2 o'clock, we started out to Tuscaloosa. We went to Shreveport first. Got to Shreveport 7-8 o'clock, or it was 7:25 because we were there 5 minutes too late to bet on the sports book for the NFL game. We still got some live bets in and won for that Lions game that we talked about because we call it the Lions winning before Kelsey got hurt. For the record, it was before all that. Was that last week? Was it Kelsey game or yeah. Okay, everything's blurring together at this point. It's all because I was like, wait, is this week 2? So we're currently in the second week as we're watching the Vikings Eagles at the same time. So we sit there, we stay at Bally's. Report is what did y'all think of Shreveport? I said Shreveport's a trash can.
Oh yeah, I'd never want to go back, dude. Like right off the top, I walked into the hotel room. And I told you, dude, there's a smell in here. And none of us realized what it was. I woke up the next morning to you asking if I had gotten sick, and turns out there was shit smeared on the floor. Dog
diarrhea just in the bathroom. It's like, bro. So I had I didn't know what to expect, just because I've never been there, and I didn't expect Vegas, obviously, but I figured a casino would be a little bit more well run than that. And the Bally's one was. There was nothing there. Like you had 10 table games. I had a sports book and they had a bunch of slot machines. So we got in to the Uber and we went to Horseshoe. It was Horseshoe, yeah?
Yeah.
Horseshoe.
Yeah.
Everything and that was saying Horseshoe was the spot to go.
That was a little better, but I mean, it was the same setup, only 3 floors of it almost, instead of having just 1 floor. I don't know. Shreveport was
3 also. We just didn't ever go up there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was all slots.
Oh, okay. Tim would have still been there if he would have found all those. So, yeah, Shreveport was a weird one. Got up the next morning. We're driving towards Tuscaloosa in this big RV, and there's a small cold front coming through. We get 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts in this RV, and we're getting blown across the highway. I can hear everyone's anxiety. I can feel it because I'm the one driving at this point. And there were a couple times that gust hit, and the power steering was almost non-existent. And so when the wind gust came, I had to jerk the wheel back just enough to make sure I don't tip the thing. And so finally we decide, no, we're not doing this. We pull over, we get Waffle House. Finally blows over after an hour, and then we get back on the road. We get in Tuscaloosa at 5 o'clock, and we stop at Baumhauer's, which actually I did find out. It is Baumhauer's. He was a former player for Alabama. So it was Baumhauer's. And this was, so we were told, hey, this is where a couple of the people with the RVs stage up. Yeah, we found it because there was about 50 RVs before. So the parking lot opens at 6. We're there at 5 away from the parking lot. And there's 50 RVs just lined up and down the street.
Not just RVs, like giant motor coaches. Just,
like $1 million huge RVs. So we got to do that. It was actually a really cool spot. So Saban does. I was talking to one of the managers there. Saban does host a podcast there. He goes on and does that every week. He said there's one crazy lady that stands out front. He gets there at noon when he goes on at like 6. And she's there every time solely to get an autograph from Nick Saban. Every time. Yeah. But apparently he shows up every week out there to do a podcast. So that was... The food was really good. No thanks to Seth.
I was wondering if you were going to go there, man.
It was one of those that
they have great fried pickles.
I bet they do. So let's talk about this for a second. So we show up, right? Seth is getting a table. I see him putting his name in. It's like, cool. So we're standing around waiting. I didn't even hear how long it was going to be for the wait. And then some of the guys were like, hey, we're going to go get drinks at the bar. And they said we can stand out on the patio. There's like couches and stuff out there. It's like, okay, cool. So we all go out there and we're sitting there. And it's like 30 or 40 minutes have gone by. I was like, Seth, like, how long was it for the table? Seth goes, oh, dude, I thought we were just going to hang around and drink and then we'll just go to the RV park. I was like, bro, we haven't eaten since 10 a.m. He's like, well, go get something to eat. So I went up in order to go. I wait 30 minutes to get my food. And here comes Seth walking up to me with this grin on his face. I was like, what do you want now? He's like, I've been waiting for you for a long time to walk outside because, we actually ordered food and we're just out there eating right now. I was like, are you kidding me? What was the deal?
In my defense, we all went out to when we got there, they said, I was asking, can we just hang out at the bar? And they're like, there's no room at the bar. You have to put in your number to get a table. And I was like, just to grab drinks? And she's like, yeah. So that's why our number got put down for that. So we went to the bar, got drinks, and they said we could hang out on the patio. They had great spots to hang out on the patio. And you were still at the bar. I think Tim had come out, Travis, and Zach. And we were sitting there, and they're like, hey, your table's ready. And we started looking around at each other, and we're like, are you going to eat? Are you going to eat? I'm like, no, I don't think so. I think we're all just going to drink. So we told them no. And that never got communicated.
This was like 8 hours since we've eaten last.
Yeah.
And it's like, we've got a long weekend. You guys did not eat at all this weekend. Or that last weekend, I was like, boys, we're going to have to eat something. And what we did eat was not good for us. I had that hot roast. Oh, so good. That restaurant was actually really cool.
No, I really like that place. It's definitely a good place to start the trip off if you're in Tuscaloosa. Just
yes.
Rolling. We were pretty nervous rolling up to there. Just like, well, one, you see all those RVs, and then I didn't see a single Longhorn fan there. And like walking up, we were pretty intimidated at first. Just like, oh, what's this reception going to be like? Everybody was on the patio, and I was just like waiting to hear them start chirping and start booing. But man, they were the nicest people. People like we were standing around on the patio, and they like came out of their own, like left their tables and came over and chatted with us, and were just awesome. It was a great reception, and I would encourage anybody else to go check it out.
Yeah. Was that Grady that came? That was Grady, wasn't it? Because I walked out, and so Grady was the one that told us to go over there. And so it was wild how like he was the one that jumps up and starts the whole conversation with you guys, not even realizing that the guy he was talking to was still inside. And like the manager, like we sat there and we talked about, he was like, well, I'm surprised you guys didn't bring your 6 shooters. It's like, bro, like it's not actually Wild Wild West in Texas. Like it doesn't work that way. And so everybody from the start that we get there was just the nicest people. Did you have any encounters at Baumhauer's, Jono?
I mean, kind of piggyback off Seth, just seeing the people kind of go out of their way to come and talk to us. Because, I mean, you brought up on enemy territory there, and I was fully anticipating people to come up and start, trash talking a little bit. And, I mean, they did a little bit, but it was all playful, obviously. But the reception, I was pretty blown away from the get-go. And that's not even counting once we got to the RV park, which I'm sure we'll go over that here in a second.
Oh, that's next. Y'all go ahead.
No, it was awesome to see like right away. that they were like stoked that we were there. They were like, "You guys came all the way from Austin, that's incredible." So it was dope, coming in there and seeing those fans and seeing the reception they had towards us.
Yeah, like we're trying to set up the RV and everything, and like get everything set up, and all of a sudden we're just swarmed with people. A couple of guys are getting offered moonshine next door. Like immediately, it's just like, okay, here we go. Like, this is honestly, there were a lot of Texas fans that I immediately noticed. Like there was maybe 50 RVs out there, and 5 to 6 of them right around us were all Texas fans.
Dude, Moonshine David was the best, man. I like that guy.
Moonshine David.
He was like literally like trying to put up flags and like get everything situated. And he just comes walking around the corner with a mason jar. The best moonshine any of us have ever had in our lives. That's amazing. Just you want to pour it over a pancake. It was delicious. I mean, that's how the night started off. It was a good time, and that was the really surprising thing. I figured the parking lot was going to be pretty hostile too, and it was just like looking right across. So there's a UT guy. There's a UT guy, and like I felt like it was probably just 20% too high. Like I felt like there was a lot of us in that parking lot.
In the parking lot, I was like, "This is a lot."
Yeah,
like
and that's the sentiment we kept hearing from people too. It was like, "Dang, you guys traveled well." Like it was great to hear that from them.
They were really shocked the whole time about how well we traveled. Honestly, I was blown away how well we traveled. So we get the RV all set up. I go meet the guy, Jonathan, at, what's the name of the amphitheater? There's an amphitheater in Tuscaloosa that Parker McCollum was playing that night. So I go up, start hanging out with Alabama fans immediately at the Parker McCollum concert. This amphitheater is just the tiniest thing you've ever been to compared to it's probably a third of the size of Coda's amphitheater. I mean, it's small. Go to see Parker McCollum. Yeah, Parker's Parker. He's got the whiny voice. He's got a couple of hit songs. It was like, okay, cool. I really wanted to go hang out and kind of understand the vibe with like Alabama fans. And the guys that I met were so cool. They were very, very welcoming. They wanted to talk some trash, but they were extremely welcoming. Kind of told us where to go for the next day and everything. And that was kind of the theme the rest of the time, was just trying to keep up. Like, it was the schedule that there was something to do the entire time. So I go back and I walk up and you guys are playing beer pong was that Moonshine Dave also? Same guy? The guy that's never played in his life and is just the Michael Jordan of beer pong, it looked like.
Dude,
I still call BS on that.
He had never played in NBA in his life. And he drank, I think it was the first 4 shots in a row, just drain.
It got to a point where he was like, point out a cup, and you just point a cup and he'd make it. It's like, okay, it's like this, what do you think, he's 60 years old? Right around in there?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, what in the world? There were so many different groups of people that came up to us there that night. So finally we go to bed. Travis may have had a little fun with the moonshine too. He was passed out. We couldn't get him out of that chair.
Yeah, we didn't really see that. Me and Seth took a little detour and went and got Whataburger. Me and Seth. And
that's right.
And so we dipped out because we were like, by that point, because obviously we didn't eat dinner with
thanks.
CJ. We decided, we were like, all right, we got to go get Whataburger, a little taste of home, while we're here. That Whataburger was ridiculously busy, dude. That in itself was a stressful environment.
And they don't serve breakfast.
Yeah, they don't serve breakfast.
After 11.
Except for honey butter chicken biscuits.
Yeah.
Which is really the only go-to. But my mistake, I ordered the taquitos. And Jono just panics and orders me a chicken strip like I'm a child.
I panicked.
He texts me, he goes, I panicked.
I need to get him something. I just don't know what to get him. And then while we're in the line there, we were obviously had a few drinks and we were feeling pretty good. So we were all talking about the game. And Zach starts quizzing Seth on the UT roster. And
I heard about this.
Seth just rattles off. Literally, I'm talking like 98% of the roster. I mean, we were down to like special teams. and he was just rattling them off. I could see the other Alabama fans kind of looking around like, are these guys just talking about their roster right now? Like every player on their roster?
It really made me feel like I need to spend my time better once I realized.
Well, it made it sound like when y'all got. It sounded like when Zach got back, he was like, "Oh yeah, Seth didn't even know the whole roster." He's like, "Oh come on, man, you couldn't name all of them." I didn't know you got all the way down to special teams.
I made him a bet that I could name like 90% of the roster, and that's like when he started like quizzing me. And so the entire time we were eating, he just had his phone out and was just like going through the too deep and everything. And I didn't miss many.
Oh boy,
guys that I missed.
It was impressive.
So that was the first night, and then we had a decision to make. Do we wake up really super early? This was like 1:00 by that time on Friday morning. We were like, do we want to get up at 6 and go to game day, or do we want to just get up at like 9 and go? We decided at that point we're going to get up like 8:00. Let's hang out, and then we'll go to game day. That was the smartest decision ever because Alabama fans apparently are just so used to having game day there. There was nobody there. Like we were front and center.
It was the most surprising thing I've seen, man.
So we do that. We were there for Saban, the Saban interview, and then they rotated from their main stage over to the side stage, and we were front and center on that stage. Like it was a cool experience. That was like the first real game day I've been to in a while. It was cool to see McAfee. I'm a guy. I know people don't like his character, but I'm a McAfee fan all the way. Like I'm a huge McAfee guy. I don't know how you can enjoy that. People say he tries too hard, but don't care. Don't care. He's there for entertainment, and I think he does a really good job of it. So, game day was lackluster though. Like Dan and Shay, we got to see Dan and Shay again. Told you, hey, every time I see Dan and Shay at a live event, last time was the Stars New Year's game at the Cotton Bowl outdoors. It's the last time I saw Dan and Shay at a sporting event. We saw him again, and we came away with a dub again. So that's the Dan and Shay's a lucky charm. Cool.
I hope that's not what we need for our whole season.
Yeah, put you to sleep for that because I don't want to listen to that anymore. Then let's see. So game day. Then we went back to the RV. Watched Colorado whoop up again on Nebraska. Finished that game.
Took some naps.
Then it was nappy time. That was, if I didn't nap then, dude, I was going to be dead the rest of the night. Then we go to, well, the burgers.
Great burgers.
Was that then?
Yeah, that was then.
That was okay. Yeah, I guess so. Bro, I'm telling you, like everything's just such a blur at this point. I can't even remember. I thought the burgers were after. No, the burgers were after. Right? No, because the burgers were before. Because then we go to, we have to take a bus. So you take a bus from the RV park. So if you're staying at the RV park, you take a bus around and it shuttles the whole day. And it'll take you all the way right up to the quad. And from there you can walk to the stadium. You're like a block away from the stadium. We end up walking up to Barstool Sports. And this was kind of our scene here at Barstool Sports, and see the boys back there. That was a cool time, but that wasn't as busy as I thought it was going to be. Like at all. Yeah, I thought it was going to be way more packed than what we had.
It was about the size I expected from what I'd seen previously. I enjoyed it. I mean, I feel like it's a better form of a show. Like they're actually interacting with the audience, facing the audience. I liked it a lot. I've been meaning to tell y'all. I thought we were going to do this on Monday, so I was waiting to tell y'all. But Barstool put out some of the pictures from the live event. We're in the pictures. Or at least I saw TJ in one of them as I was.
They put pictures out from it? Where did they put the pictures up?
I'd have to look again. They just had like some. I forget where I saw it, but
probably on their Facebook page.
Definitely in the pictures.
Nice. We caught ourselves in a lot of those situations this weekend. So we go there. Yeah. So we go. So So we go to Barstool Sports. That was a cool event. I really wanted to see those guys. I really enjoy what all those guys do. They do it very well. Like you said, Seth, like they're just very entertaining, and they're more for the entertainment purpose. And where they're doing the horns down and all that, don't worry. We have a video coming out that's going to be showing all that before the game. We're going to do a video montage that basically pulls everything out of our full game day experience. But we go there. This is on the strip. So when you're walking down, this place is packed at this point. So everyone up to this point has been extremely nice, right? Well, on this end, where you start catching all the youngins and all the college kids, and they got a lot of pent up frustration ready for this game, and they want to trash talk. And at this point, we had to be on our P's and Q's because they were getting real mouthy.
I don't.
So I have videos, and they're not. When I say mouthy, I just mean like they're not the friendly like, oh hey, like come hang out. When you get to the young college kids, it is.
I do remember when we were walking past all the frat houses.
All those frat houses were they were getting real mouthy, and so you just had to keep your head down and keep walking. We get to the stadium. What time did we get there? We probably got there, 5 o'clock? Right around there. Probably 4:45. We get in the stadium. The tickets worked. So that did his job. Everything was great.
I was nervous too. I pulled out the tickets at first to put them on my wallet or whatever. I only counted 5 the first time, and I was like, just straight panic on the inside. Like, what did I do? But there were 6 there, thankfully.
It all worked out. So we walk in the stadium, and we're walking to our seats, and me being just the one that's trying to get into something at all points of the time, I see this tunnel that goes down, and I see the field. And so immediately I was like, hey, boys, our seats are this way. Not knowing where I'm walking to, I just know I see field, and I want to get down there as fast as possible. So we walk down this tunnel right here, and you're on the field. Like, it is free range. So you see right in front, there's a fence that those people are standing on. You could watch the game from here, technically, at an Alabama game. We asked all the security and everything. They're like, yeah, if you wanted to watch the game from here, you're not going to see a whole lot. But there's a full-on walkway right there that you can walk up and down and watch everyone practice, and you can watch the actual game there. So I'm walking to the Texas side out in front of everybody, and I just hear this guy. He's like, hey, you come here. And I look up, and this guy behind the fence on the sideline is yelling at me, and this is the Alabama side. This isn't even the Texas side. And I was like, great. Now I'm going to get in trouble here. Okay. So I walk over to him. He's like, who do you want a picture of? I was like, I'm sorry, what? This guy has an SEC official hat on. He's a straight-up sideline SEC official. I believe he was part of the chain gang that night. So he's like,
a random call out.
Bro, there was so many people around us, as you can see in the video, and he just straight points at me. He's like, we want to welcome you guys in. We appreciate you coming out. What do you want a picture of? I was like, I don't want a picture. I just want video. So this man takes my phone and just takes video for me on the field right before the game. Like, just the nicest thing. Like, everyone at Alabama, our age or up, was cool. Like, everyone. There was some jawing, but it was all friendly banter. The guy that was behind us. But this was so amazing. I mean, he's out here just getting full on video with no questions asked. Then we turned back up to go up the tunnel. I don't have this picture loaded, but we'll talk about it anyway. So we go back up the tunnel, and I look, and I see these guys in suits walking, and I immediately went, oh. So I yelled at Jono. I said, come here. And I think he heard me because I was quick. I turned right back around to walk the same direction these guys were walking, pull out my phone, and I immediately was like, hey, Herb Street. Turned around, gave me the horns up. Met Herb Street this weekend as well. Like, it was just, this was within a 5-minute span of a SEC official calling us out and taking video, and then Herbstreit getting to take a picture there. Like,
we literally been in the stadium like 5 minutes at this point. We were like, TJ's gonna get us field level tickets tonight. We're gonna meet, Sark tonight. We're gonna meet Saban tonight. Like it was like the luck that you have in those first 5 minutes, because you literally called my name out, and by the time I turned around, I see you with your phone up, and I was like, wait, that's Kurt Herbstreit. I was still trying to like process what was going on, and you were on it, dude.
Just head on the swivel every time.
TJ and Kirk are like this now.
Yeah. We're absolute buddies now. Like, we have the same pick now. Lee Corso's out. I'm in. I'll wear a mascot helmet. Vikings touchdown. All right. What did you guys think of the stadium?
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I was walking. It dissipated after getting there, but like when we first walked in, like I was really blown away. One of the things that really blew me away is the concourse that you're already talking about. Like getting to, like, any fan gets to have the experience of getting down to field level, and you can literally buy the nosebleed seats and come hang out along that fence line. And it wasn't crazy packed like I thought it would have been along there. Like, with that being the etiquette there that you can go hang out there, I thought it was just going to be packed. It seemed like there was typically 1 to 2 people along the rail along the entire thing. That was an amazing experience that I think is really cool about their stadium, just access to all around there. It was a really fun environment. They really bring it. They got a lot of all their Roll Tide chants that are fun and annoying at the same time. But
yeah,
great atmosphere. But they quiet down a lot once you start scoring.
They were very quiet at the beginning of the second half. Now, I'll tell you, annoying. You don't know annoying. Because let's shout out 9 to 5 podcast. They're on Spotify. It's my buddy Jake Garrison. We went to college together. He's an Arkansas fan. Let me tell you, Arkansas is the worst with their chants. You want to talk about woo pig suey? It is the most annoying, and it is constant. Alabama had nothing on Arkansas's chants. Yeah. Like, it is. Not fun. I loved Dixieland Delight, though. Like,
that was fun.
It was rowdy because at the time that they played it, Alabama had just went up, and so they were trying to hype it up as much as possible, and so they played Dixieland Delight at that point, and it was loud. That is a point where I was like, okay, they're trying to build up this momentum, and Ewers came right back in and drove down the field and dominated them, shut them right back up. And at the end of the game, there was a guy that was sitting behind us. I believe his name was Clint. Him and a couple of his friends, he immediately started dogging on us. So from the second we sat down, he was giving it to us like, your shirt's trash, your shirt's trash. Until Travis, his was the best shirt. Travis was the best looking one out of all of us the whole time with the cowboy hat and everything. The guys were wanting the shirt off his back. But he immediately just started talking trash. And I turned around and gave it right back to him. And he immediately clicked and was like, okay, these guys will be able, we can banter back and forth. There were a couple of times Zach throughout the night was tapping me. He was like, hey man, you're going too far, you're going too far. I was like, trust me. This guy speaks my language. Like, we're in the same boat here. But it was fun. They were a blast. But at the end of the game, he goes, hey, you guys want to see something you haven't seen before? Alabama fans are leaving early. And I turned around, and it was just gross. This was like 7-minute mark. They were starting to leave. And I was like, I ain't counting my chickens yet. I'm a Texas Ranger fan. I know what it's like to solidify a win before it's actually won. So I didn't count it, but everyone was so cool, man. Like, we really enjoyed the Alabama experience. I would go to Alabama all day. If you were thinking about going to Alabama, that's one of the best places I think you could travel to, as far as like just seeing your opposing team go play there. It was a great experience for me as far as outside of the game.
Yeah. They were great, very hospitable. It was funny. It seemed like it was like more of a family environment. Not that UT's not a family environment, but it just seemed like they really embraced that family vibe in there. And there was a whole lot of times like we were sitting there and you could just hear people around like, Well, he's so rude. I wish he would just sit down. Like it was a very, I guess, Southern hospitality.
It was a family environment. It was a 20 years ago family environment for a lot of the areas that we live in. Like that's the difference. Like they were old school, like very old school.
We had like season ticket holders sitting because me and Tim were about, I'd say 6 or 7 seats down, same row from Seth and TJ, and we got to talking to the people around us, and pretty much all of them were season ticket holders, a little bit older. And I told them going into it, I shook all their hands, and I was just kind of like, hey guys, like, I'm not going to be disrespectful, but I did not just drive. I did not just ride in an RV.
I was say, no, you don't get that.
Let me correct that. To not participate in this game. I mean, that's my whole thing. That's what I was always taught growing up. It's like, if you're going to go to the game, you got to try to make a difference. So when I say I screamed on every defensive play, I definitely did. I know they were annoyed by me, but after the game, all of them were around me, came up and shook my hand, congratulated us. They were loud as well, screaming for their team. I mean, it's just super, super fun environment, atmosphere. I was impressed for sure. I was expecting, you got your bad apples in any stadium for sure. You're going to have that. But I mean, everybody that was around us was awesome. I mean, they were, the lady in front of us was like, hey, A&M just lost, just to help us out a little bit. I was like, oh, yeah. that makes the night even better, So wow. It was just super cool. We had a good crew around us. And the guy that was sitting next to me, he said that him and his dad actually traveled to Austin last year for the game. And they were like talking about how much fun they had, other than it being like 120 degrees. But they were talking about how much fun and how cool the fans were at DKR. So that was obviously awesome to hear too. So I was like,
I mean, cool. I'll tell you right now, Texas fans are not as nice as Alabama fans were. Like, these people just bent over backwards to make sure you felt at home. And Texas has a couple things to learn from them on that point. I'll just say it right now. I'll ruffle some feathers, don't care. Like, the way we were treated was fantastic, and it changed my perspective of seeing opposing fans and everything that come to our stadium and we see out and about. Like, it honestly changed my perspective on all that. So,
for sure. Maybe if we win 4 or 5 national championships in 10 years, we would have a little different.
Yeah. That's the thing. That's what I picked up. I was like, it's almost like we got the bless your heart experience. Like, oh, bless your heart, you guys came out of here thinking you're going to win. Well, enjoy your time here. We're so glad to have you. Give us your money, and then go on about your way with your loss. So that did not happen. So let's talk about the game now. What a win. Like, it was dominating on both ends of the offensive and defensive line. Was just dominating.
That was like the thing I'm most proud of the game. I mean, Quinn's performance, I guess you could put up there, but just the controlling of the game, which you would not expect against Bama. Like, we really just went into the trenches and just handled business, and that was so awesome.
Oh, yeah. It was kind of one of those, I don't know. So everything that we talked about that had to go right kind of went right. Ewers has to be able to hit the deep ball again. Worthy drops that first catch in the touchdown that should have been a catch, and then comes back and makes that circus catch to make up for it a little bit. But Ewers not just played well, but he managed the game well. He managed the football. There weren't any turnovers. He almost had one, but he lucked out, and we were able to get a first down on it. But it was I was thoroughly impressed with the way everyone handled themselves. As far as the defensive line is what really, I mean, those guys were awesome.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, the defensive line. I mean, Anthony Hill being one of those young guys that just did not look intimidated by the atmosphere at all. Like, 2 sacks for a true freshman, true road game, having 5 sacks total from that defensive line. I think they said we had 17 pressures on Milroe throughout the day. So, I mean, that defensive line was just in that backfield the entire day. And then, kind of piggybacking off you said, you were with the deep ball. I mean, that's what we were talking about last week. And for him to be able to do that and our line to be able to protect him and give him time. I mean, Alabama, from what I can remember, Alabama didn't really touch him. I mean, he had time to throw that ball, and that's incredible, because Alabama has has a great defensive line. The fact that they were able to protect him the way we were, and then you were just managing the game, the entire game. I mean, looking back on it and watching the highlights, when I was there, I was just on edge the entire time. But looking back and watching the game and the highlights, Texas was in control of that game for the majority of it. I know the Bama came back and scored to go up, but even then, Texas was doing what they needed to do with the ball offensively throughout the entire game, pretty much. So,
well, and what I noticed just watching back a little bit was there are a lot of blatant holds called against Alabama, like blatant, obvious. I was like, oh, I'm glad I didn't see all that because I would have been absolutely yelling about that because there was blatantly obvious ones.
Yeah, when I'm rewatching the game, when you're there in the environment, you're not picking up those details. But the second when I started watching it again, I was just like, "Oh my gosh, they're holding like crazy!" I can't believe those weren't getting called.
It was.
And we were still getting there.
The only thing Milroe did well was his legs, but we contained him for the most part. I mean, you're not going to contain him the whole time. And his only thing that came to my mind was that. The snap that was fumbled that he picked right back up, threw, and then we missed like 3 tackles for him to get a TD.
Right.
That was the only real slip up that I saw. Everything else looked great. Our run game is my question right now. Was that because of the game plan that Sark said, I'm going to be very aggressive and not worry about the run? And they were just stacked for that. I don't know, but I think Baxter had 31 yards. I don't remember what the other one. I think we had 57 yards also. Someone got stats pulled up?
Brooks had 57.
He did have 57. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my big question right now is running back situation. Like, are we going to step up? Because we're going to need that to close out games. Like, we can't just run and gun the whole time if we're going to be in the playoffs.
Which they did at the end of that game. I mean, there was some pretty big runs where, the one that comes to mind is that 3rd and 7 where Brooks takes the draw up the middle and gets, 13, 14 yards. So, I mean, we were able to move the ball, but like you said, it definitely wasn't consistent through the game. There was times where, we kind of there was some 4th and 1 where we had trouble kind of like pushing around to get a yard. I mean, like you said, there's some small things that you can take from this game. The running game is definitely one of the things that still has some work to do, obviously. And I know we got some young guys back there. They're trying to figure it out in a running back by committee type thing too. But it would be really nice to have one of these guys really step up and claim that, running back 1 position. So.
Sark was saying that this afternoon in his press conference, and they were asking about the running game. And he was really talking about how he was happy and proud of what they were doing in the 4th quarter, but trying to figure out, get a game plan together where they can execute that in the 1st quarter is really the question mark of, can you do it when they're not already beat down and exhausted? Can you come out the gates and really set the tone with that running game? And that's still the question mark. So,
I mean, you do that, you get that running game going early, and you release these already dirty wide receivers we have going right now. Mitchell looked great, man. Holy cow, what a game he had.
Yeah.
Dude, he just dominates versus Bama. What is that, dude?
I know.
His entire time at Georgia, it's like something about him playing Bama. He's just got that chip on his shoulder that he's like, I'm going to dominate these guys,
Yep. Yeah, it was really cool to see him really do well. As far as for me, defense is what really set the tone. That line, the Texas Longhorns showing videos of that line and how fast they're fighting. They're on the ground, right back up, and still getting to Milroe. Like, it was incredible to watch that. I'm excited to see what they do.
Yeah, that's awesome. Dude, and young guys, that defense is littered with young guys, which is just all the more encouraging that this talent's not going to walk out the door after the season, and we're not going to be back at square one. Like, there's a lot of young contributors that are already like showing that they are not to be messed with, and that was awesome. Just like Anthony Hill, that's the one that obviously comes to mind, and just seeing what he's going to develop into, dude, he's going to be a beast, and
Yeah, he's a monster for sure.
I'm excited.
Penalties is another thing that you look at that, I mean, for a Nick Saban coach team to have 90 yards, I believe, in penalties, and a lot of those were pretty blatantly, obviously self-inflicted, you know. And they, I mean, like you said, mentioning all those holds too. I mean, it honestly could have been more, but a lot of penalties, and I feel like we did well. I mean, I can't think of off my head, top of my head, us having any false starts or anything due to, you know, the crowd noise type thing. I mean, they were rocking that silent count the entire game, and you know, kudos to our line because it was rocking, especially in that third and fourth quarter. I mean,
it was getting loud, very loud. Did you see? That reminds me. Did you see Jimbo Fisher, the last play of their game, or one of their play? And he said the reason they screwed it up is Miami simulated their snap counts with the clapping, and that's why they hiked the ball early. It's like, bro, like that's practice. That's practice. Yeah.
Excuses.
That when you said that they handled the crowd, it reminded me of A&M, because also I played softball the other night. I was talking to a buddy named Trevor. He's an A&M guy. And he just comes in. He's like, that's all well and good, Texas won, but Alabama is not the same Alabama at all. Like the reason why Texas won is Alabama is just not the same football team. I was like, bro, do not do that. That is the most A&M thing I have ever heard. Oh, the only reason you won is because Alabama played like trash. No, our defense dominated, our offense dominated, and we took over the game in a hostile environment. Like, it doesn't work that way. You don't get to go, oh, and then he backed off. It's like, oh, well, no, I know what you're saying, is you can't give any credit where credit is due. Now, let's be clear. This is not a Texas is back thing. Like, it's just not it. I don't think Texas is back until we win a championship. We're not back. We have a lot road to go, because we all know, like 2 or 3 games down the road, we're going to have a test. It's going to come out of nowhere, and we're just going to have to get a nitty-gritty win, because we're playing down to people and not playing our game. It's going to happen. I think it's going to be the Baylor game. I think the first 3 quarters of the Baylor game is going to be tough, and then we'll end up pulling it out at the end. But I think Baylor, even though they lost their first game, they look better. We played Utah, right? Yeah. They played better against Utah. They're not a better team, but they're better than what they looked in the first 2 weeks, I think. I think they'll get there to a point where they'll make it a game. But that's my next game that I'm looking at. But we got to take care of business this weekend. We're at Wyoming, so we got to take care of business there, and then move forward. And because right now, what's going to start happening is, here's Oklahoma, and we're all just going to look forward to the Oklahoma game, and let's just hope our players don't do that, because that's not what we need right now.
Yeah, you don't want to have that hangover. I mean, after a statement win like that, I mean, we saw it when we went to the bar after the game. I mean, it was just all over ESPN. That's all they were talking about, you know, and that's pretty much all they've been talking about this week, other than Coach Prime. But I mean, we've been all over the media, and it's easy to kind of let that go to your head. We got to realize that we got a Wyoming team coming into town that beat Texas Tech a couple of weeks ago, you know, and won their last game. So you got a 2-0 Wyoming team coming in that, you know, we always have the target on our back. We're always going to have that, but it's even bigger now because we're top 5 team. You know, guys want that upset, and there's a lot of guys on these teams that are from Texas that just didn't get the opportunity to come to Texas. So this is their chance to like punk us, you know. So we just got to stay ready. You know, it's one of those things. I don't want to see us fall asleep and be satisfied with winning on the road, you know, in Alabama.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead.
I feel like that's been a constant narrative with this whole Texas is back thing over the last 10 years. Is like, yeah, we'll get up for a game, especially under Tom Herman. You always get up for the big games and then just like fall asleep at the wheel, and just as soon as we won, I felt like everybody was like texting and asking like, "Oh, who are we gonna end up dropping on the schedule? Are you gonna lose to Kansas and things like that?" As the tide finally turned, can they actually stay motivated and keep their head in things is the big question mark. And I'm really hopeful. I think Sark is really instilling in them that just get back to work mentality, but only time will tell if it actually is happening.
I have a lot of confidence in Sark right now. Like I love the way he's handled himself throughout before the game with all his interviewing, and then even after. Like I'm very impressed with him. I'm thoroughly proud to call him a head coach. I haven't been able to say that in a long time, but I think he's done a really really good job, especially for what he's come from. I'm excited to see kind of where we go from here because he's starting to build that SEC caliber team. We're not there yet. Let's be clear. That's the one thing I have about Texas fans that are the keyboard Texas fans. Get off the keyboard and go to a game. Go be loud. Get out and actually enjoy the games. Don't sit there and keyboard warrior and now we're the greatest of all time. No, we're not there yet.
Yeah.
When we win a championship, that's one thing. We haven't won anything yet. We beat Alabama. It was a great win. We thoroughly enjoyed it, but we're not done yet. We have to get to the Big 12 championship. We have to get to the playoffs and then continue to win from there. Like this is not over, so let's everyone take a chill pill, all right? Let's enjoy the game after game and go from there. But go to the games, be loud the whole time. That's all I need. Enjoy it.
Absolutely. It's just a stepping stone game. You know, it's just one of those things. It's one we had to have to get to where we need to go. But there's still a lot of room to grow, a long way to go. It's a long season. We haven't even started our Big 12 play yet. And you know that target's on our back in the Big 12. So we got a long way to go. And like you said, with some of those fans, I mean, I saw more people post about Texas on social media that I was like, I haven't seen you in any games in the last couple of years. So, but hey, jump on board. I'm all right with it.
Yeah.
I was going to piggyback off of your comments about Sark and the way he's building the team. I feel like there was a lot of sentiment rolling around last year about people looking at what Dave Aranda did 2 years ago as a first-year head coach. Was it second-year head coach? And then Sonny Dykes last year with TCU. And I feel like within the UT fan base, there got to be a whole lot of stuff as like questioning if Sark was already failing because he hadn't had the immediate success. And I'm just really happy to look at it. Looks like he's like building long-term productivity out of this roster, and I'm super excited about it. Not just a flash in the pan. I mean, not to really like throw Baylor under the bus, but they splashed and then they've come back down to reality. And that's the question mark on TCU right now. Were they a splash and they're going to come back down? Or I'm really happy. I know it's taken longer and maybe the rest of the fan base doesn't get nearly as excited that it's taken 3 years, but I feel like Sark's building something that's going to last, and I'm all here for it.
Bro, if you think it's going to change overnight with a coach coming in, you just don't understand football at all. Like what he's done in 3 years is great. Just the recruiting. Oh, which by the way, we recruited this weekend. We were going across from our seats to the Texas side to go celebrate with the team, and we couldn't get by because we had this line of guys just walking up. I started looking at their badges, and I was like, wait a minute. I said, hey, boys, y'all come on over. We got better barbecue. You'll enjoy your time. You like music? We got music. Y'all come over to Texas because we're clearly going to start winning a whole lot more. Alabama's done. You guys come on over. They start laughing and everything. One of the dads actually started talking to us just about the city and everything. It was funny because then when you see the players, I don't remember who it was, but he was on the field right after the game going right up to the same players, yelling at them, hey, y'all come on over to Texas. Y'all don't need to stay here. Y'all come over to Texas. Like we were recruiting hard, boy. We were still on it. So any recruits that happen for the next 2 months, we get credit for, just for the record.
Put the program on my back.
Yeah. Wyoming is this weekend. I'm not expecting. I don't think it's going to be a game at all. What did you say the line was now? 30?
It's at 30 right now. Yep.
Yeah, right at 30, over under 48.5. I mean, I Who did Wyoming play last week? They played Portland State, won 31-17. Yeah. Our defense just needs to keep doing what they're doing. It's you're not going to hold a candle to them. This is going to be a get work in, get ahead early, and then by halftime, let's get some more players from reps. Let's get this practice going because you got Baylor, and then you've got, is it Oklahoma next? Baylor, then Kansas, and Oklahoma.
Yeah, I was about to say.
So we're at Baylor. Man, I could go to 1, 2, 3. I'm not going to that. Not yet. Maybe if Oklahoma is as trash as they were last year by that time, then they start selling their tickets again, we may do that. That's why we went last year, is because the tickets were so cheap for the Oklahoma side, because they were like, we have zero defense. And it showed that day. So we'll see when we get to that point, but we've got my one circled that I have is Kansas State on the schedule right now. That's going to be an interesting game. As of right now, that's going to be our biggest test.
I'm excited to watch Kansas State play this week and kind of get a better idea where they're at. Aren't they? Are they? Who are they playing this weekend? Is it Nebraska?
Missouri.
They are playing.
Missouri. That's right.
I believe on the road too, which I know those two teams played a lot when Missouri was in the Big 12, and that was considered a decent rivalry over there. So I'm sure that'll be a good test for them to figure out kind of where Kansas State is, because still don't really know much about that team, but I mean, they always got a pretty hard-nosed team. So,
yeah, they were pretty formidable last year. But going to Missouri, I don't know where to put that game at. I'm excited to watch it though.
They're here at least. So when K-State comes, they're coming here. So
yeah,
at least we don't have to play up there.
Just take it 1 week at a time. 1 week at a time. Let's get this Wyoming win, and then we'll see where we are from there.
Have y'all looked much into Wyoming?
I haven't.
A little bit, just looking at the stats. I mean, they look pretty well rounded in their first two games. I know against Texas Tech, they kind of matched Tech's air raid, kind of offense, the tempo and everything like that. So that's the main thing. We just have to control the pace of the game, is the main thing. Not let them get into a groove of things. But I haven't, other than that Texas Tech game, I haven't really seen, too much from them. But it's not easy being 2-0.
Yeah, I looked into them a little bit today just to look at their roster breakdown, and they, not to throw shade, there weren't a lot of highlights to draw from their rosters, except for their offensive line. They have a pretty impressive offensive line, so I don't think it's going to be a problem for Texas, but that is the strong point of their team right now, and then also a quarterback that can scramble.
Hopefully Isaiah Nair gets some pretty good looks this weekend against his old school. Obviously that's going to be one he has circled. It's like, all right, I'm going up against some of my old guys, so hopefully he can get in and have a good week. I know he hasn't had a whole lot of opportunities yet, but obviously that's a guy that's coming off injury has an insane upside. So,
yeah.
I mean, you look at Wyoming stats for just the year. I mean, their quarterback's at 350 total passing yards. Ewers did that last week. They've got 341 rushing yards. So,
dude, last year he almost had a 1-to-1 pass, or was it touchdown to interception ratio?
Yeah.
Oh.
So
let's hear the predictions for Saturday. Then I mean, we got to do it every week.
Let's see. So what did we last week? I think I went 42-21. I think my score. 24-34.
Yeah, I think that was right. You went a little heavy on it for sure. I went low scoring. I think I was
one touchdown away.
17. Yeah, that's true. I was 24-17, so it was, I was a little low with it.
Yeah.
So this week's score, I think the first half I think Ewers goes off the first half, and in the second half, I think Murphy comes in and gets a lot of playing time. I'm going to go with 48-7. I think Blake Murphy comes in and does work also. I'm going 48-7.
Okay. I like the idea of Murphy getting some extra run. Just to start to see that backup option play out. But yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty big Texas favor. I'll probably put it at 50, 53, 53-10.
Okay. I'll say 45-13. I think we give up a couple of field goals in the first half, and
13.
Then a couple of field goals in the first half, and then I think we give up a touchdown late.
Defense is electric, dude. Leave it alone.
We'll see. I know they are.
What do you mean we'll see? We didn't see.
There's going to be a lot of guys getting playing time, so I'll go.
Let's see. What are some games we got coming up this week? There's nothing really good this week.
I mean, they're hyping up the Colorado State game, obviously.
Colorado is going to mop the floor with them.
But it's just one of the, yeah, exactly.
But I will say, I am starting to kind of figure out this Cinderella story is not going to last very long. Like, Colorado's good. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, they're good for what they came from. But there's going to be a point in time, like when they're playing Oregon, I think Oregon will be their first loss. I think they're a great team. I just, a lot of these schools don't even know how to game plan against Dion yet because they don't really know the style that he's playing yet. They're going to figure him out a little bit. So eventually, it's going to come down. I don't want that to happen. I would love to see Colorado make it to the playoffs and us play Colorado in the playoffs. That would be exciting. But I think that fairy tale is gonna end soon. They're gonna be a one-loss team and they're out. Like they have to be out.
I mean, they already overachieved.
Yeah, I mean
they were last year.
Bro, the fact that we're 200,000 viewers away from the Texas-Alabama game, like they had we were 8.8 and they had 8.6 million for that game.
Really? I didn't see their numbers come out.
It was unreal. Like, I think peak viewership for the Texas game was like 10 mil, but like the average number that they put out was 8.8 and the Colorado game was 8.6 million for viewership. Texas game was the highest since 2014 for ESPN, highest across the board since 2015 for the viewership. So, Texas is undefeated against Alabama when they don't hurt our quarterback. For the record, just want to be clear. They've never beaten us as long as they don't hurt our quarterback.
That's true.
Look it up.
That's
a valid stat. It's real. So, we're Alabama's daddy. I'll say it. I don't care. I mean, as long as you can't touch your quarterback, we're good. So, which they did not get to that quarterback.
One quarterback pressure the entire game.
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right, so who do we have on the Big 12 picks? We were all successful last week. Seth had West Virginia. They won. TJ with the Texas pick.
Oh.
And then I had BYU. So who do y'all have this week?
Oh, boy.
I was just looking at it. I think I'm going to go for a really safe one and just go with Baylor this week against Long Island University.
Oh. Bold move, Cotton.
Well, I know.
Long Island, man. You never know.
I'm playing the long game here, man. I got to save the big guys.
Yeah, I was about to say. You got to play.
I'm tempted to pick Houston at this point. I'm tempted.
Ooh.
That's ballsy. That's ballsy.
Who do you have, Jono? Certainly you've already picked, right?
I'm gonna take Oklahoma State. I don't know much about that team. I know they're 2-0. They're playing South Alabama, but I know it's only like a touchdown line on it. For some reason, I just don't. Nobody really knows much about Oklahoma State, but I feel like this is my chance to take them before Big 12 play starts. So I'm gonna go Oklahoma State.
You know what? I don't even care. I'm doing this for the content. You can lock it up. Houston's beating TCU. All right? Lock it up. making the call. It's going to happen. TCU looks like trash this year. Sick and tired of hearing them. I had to hear about them on a conference call today. One of my coworkers in the middle of a conference call was like, because somebody asked me about the game, so I'm telling everybody. She goes, "Oh well, we'll see about that. We'll see if Texas is back." And I was like, "What team again?" She's like, "TCU." I was like, "That's what I thought. Don't worry, we'll take care of that." So, yeah, I'm in on Houston. Let's go. That'd be 3 weeks in a row that we've called a big game, an upset game. So
I like it.
Let's just keep the streak going.
I got it written down so we can look back on this next week and see where we stand.
Anything else from you guys?
I think we touched on what I wanted to touch on. I mean, incredible game. One of those type of things. I know we mentioned it before. It's core memory type thing. Getting to go with that group of guys, great group of guys. Staying in the RV. that's a lot of bodies in a small RV, but man, we rocked it. We rocked it.
The smells were not good.
And it was just one of those trips is going to be, a lot of memories, a lot of stories came from it that we're going to look back on for a long time. And I'm just super glad we got a chance to go out there and do that. And it makes me eager to go to more road games. I know TJ already sent out an Airbnb in Ann Arbor, so I guess
we're booking it, baby. We're booking it. It's going to happen. Think about it. And I didn't think about this. Zach said he goes, the last 2 games that we've gone to that were away or neutral were historic games. We went to the Oklahoma-Texas game last year. Went to this game. That's why I'm going to go to Baylor in 2 weeks, just because, let's just make it another historic game where we beat them 87-0. No, I'm going to go with
We're undefeated. We're undefeated when us 3, Travis and Zach, go to games together. So
yes, that's true. That's true. So, let's save that for Big 12 possible championship and beyond. So, but no, if y'all want to go to Baylor, let me know. Y'all are welcome to. I'm going to go with Jason, my good buddy, him and his wife are Baylor fans. So we're going to go out there, enjoy the game, and I'll be out there tomorrow. So if you guys see us around, say hi. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. We appreciate the support. Also, we are now on Instagram also. We're on Twitter and Instagram. Follow us there. You'll get the updates. It'll really help grow the channel. So make sure to spread the love, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And we'll see you after the next Texas win. All right? Hook 'em.
Hook 'em, y'all.